Hey folks, Eric to the Whatever Guy, because it really is whatever for me. Do you folks want to know about my opinion about whether the legislature should step in and fix this problem? You guys stick around, man, and I'll talk about that. As you guys know, my name is Eric. I'm the Whatever Guy, and I usually shoot videos a couple days a week, basically keeping you guys updated in the world Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, hemp cannabis, just what's going on around. But today, man, sitting here bullshitting around, getting ready to take a look at an article by Josh Moon. Basically, it's an opinion article. And for those of you who don't understand, let me just preface this by saying that I understand Josh Moon's a hack. I understand that Josh Moon is basically going to write articles for whoever's paying him at the moment. And who's paying him at the moment is Alabama Always and Inside Alabama. Although I will say that he points out quite a few things in this article that we need to check out and take a look at. And obviously, I agree with quite a bit of the things that he says in this article. However, let me preface that again by saying, or digress by saying one more time, or on something else, is that I have actually heard from a representative that is basically telling me that if it gets up into the legislature, that there's a possibility they could just scrap this whole program altogether. Like, that is the general consensus of the Republican House right now. That's what I'm hearing from this representative. I actually heard it from her mouth. She's telling me that, the general consensus is that rather than dealing with it with the gambling and the school choice and the prisons and everything else they got going on with the legislature coming up, they feel like they don't have the time to deal with it. And so they would probably rather just scrap it and wait for some sort of federal legalization. So we're going to flip over to this article here and check this out and see what Josh Moon has to say about this whole debacle we got going on with the Alabama medical cannabis cartel. And like I said, I can agree with quite a bit of this, up to the point where it gets to the legislature and they decide they want to scrap it rather than actually fix this problem. It says Legislature must act to repair flawed medical cannabis program. All right, and it says here, the Alabama's legislature is going to have to fix a medical marijuana program that the Alabama medical cannabis cartel has broken. It's really that simple. This week, the various plaintiff companies who have filed suit against the commission over its licensing process, a process that has been stopped and restarted twice and is now stopped for a third time, were in court to iron out with the AMCC's attorneys and a Montgomery County Circuit Court judge just how much discovery will be allowed in the case. The parties are on the verge of starting depositions and handing over various documents. That will be ugly, more ugly than what we've already seen. And it's already been pretty ugly. The biggest problem here is that the system in its current form is probably too broken to be repaired by the courts or by anyone lacking legislature power. No matter what happens from here on out, there will be lawsuits, and those lawsuits will almost certainly have merit. Those lawsuits will almost always hold up the process of getting this very effective drug into the hands of the very needy patients who are waiting on it. Stop this. The legislature should do what it should have done from the start. Remove the limits from integrated facility licenses and let the open market run its course. Let me just say this. Again, I just told you that I know that Josh Moon is being paid by Alabama Always into Alabama. It's interesting that the only license that he wants to expand is the integrated licenses because that's who's paying him. In my opinion, they should just open it up for all of them. Like if you take the cultivator space, for instance, they were allowed to issue 12 licenses. They only issued 8, and some of those companies were actually set up ready to go, and some of the companies that actually got licenses were not set up to go. I just told you guys 2 weeks ago that a company here in Alabama that received a cultivator license contacted me about purchasing cultivation equipment. Did I know anyone that they could purchase cultivating equipment from? And obviously I do know people that they can purchase cultivating equipment from. The people that were set up that didn't get a license. That's basically how that situation worked out. And it's, like I said, it's interesting that Josh Moon only points out the integrated facilities. He wants an expansion on those. Really, we should just get an expansion on all the licenses and open it up for the whole thing and let the free market sort it out. I understand the reasons behind limiting the licenses to 5. Marijuana legalization in this state was a big change, and you wanted to ensure that the state was able to handle it. You wanted to make sure the facilities could be properly monitored and regulated. You wanted to make sure this whole thing didn't get out of hand and the good old boys didn't start going to jail, as they're likely to do in this state whenever a new lucrative business opportunity opens up. But the AMCC killed that idea. They did it by completely and utterly botching the licensing process from the start, whether that's by gross mismanagement or by purposeful sabotage of some companies, as the plaintiffs in the lawsuits keep hinting. I'm honestly not sure which it is. On the other hand, it's hard to imagine an agency so thoroughly screwing up a process, making such questionable, curious decisions at seemingly every turn. Why wouldn't you just go visit the applicant sites? But on the other hand, this is an Alabama government agency. We've probably seen worse. Whatever happened, it killed the initial intent of the laws. And the only real solution at this point is just set up regulations and requirements that must be met in order to receive a license. Limit the number of licenses in certain areas, and then issue out licenses to all who meet the requirements. Let the free market sort them out after that. That's a, I agree with that, to some extent, but that was already set in place before they issued these licenses. Like, these companies were supposed to be set up and ready to go and get product up on the shelf within 60 days. That was already a requirement. Like, that was a requirement from the very beginning. And we're going to find out after the fact that a lot of these people that were issued licenses cannot get medical marijuana up on the shelf within 60 days. Even with this pause that we have right now, if they were to issue the licenses in March or April, some of those companies would still not be able to get cannabis up on the shelf within 60 days. It's not possible, because a lot of them don't even have an address for the lot that they bought, don't even have the lot cleared, don't have a building up. And I don't know if you guys know, but I've been in construction for quite a while, and it takes a little while to set it up. I don't give a fuck how many crews you got, because there's nothing you can tell me about putting a pipe up in the middle of a field where a wall is going to be in 6 months and hitting it dead right. Okay, so there's nothing about that you can explain to me. So there's no way that you can tell me that these people are going to be able to get cannabis up on the shelf within 60 days. Instead of wasting any more money on defending these lawsuits, spend it on regulating and policing the facilities that will be in business, and do it quickly. There are patients who are desperate to receive these life-changing drugs, and they can be life-changing for some, alleviating debilitating seizures and excruciating pain. For some people, marijuana, a non-addictive, mild drug, can replace opioids for pain management. That alone is worth speeding this process along. Sorry about that, guys. If the legislature doesn't act, though, they're going to be waiting a long, long time, and that's the biggest travesty out of all of this. Like I told you guys before, like, we are a long, long ways off from medical marijuana. Like, these guys have screwed this up from the very beginning. The AMCC is basically caught in a crossfire. They've got lawsuits on both ends of it. They don't know which way to turn. And the fact of the matter is like, if it pushes up in the legislature, there is a possibility that the legislature may just scrap this program all the way around, and we just have lost all of this that we have done up to this point. Like, this is a crazy, crazy situation that we have allowed the AMCC to screw up from the very beginning, and especially when you consider we've got all eyes on us with the prisons going on, with the school choice, with everything that we have going on, with gambling, with everything we have going on in the state, man. Why can't we just get something right for once? All right, folks, whatever, got signing off, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow, man. Love it. See ya.